It's another edition of the Exit 52 podcast. It is Thursday night, December 12th. My name is Jake Louque. We are brought to you, as always, by Jimmy's Famous Seafood, who will, in fact, be in attendance this weekend, this Sunday, in the Big Apple or the big parking lot in New Jersey there that is known as MetLife Stadium. If you are going up there, check out the Tailgoat website to get yourself some tickets. They are still on sale. Get yourself some, have yourself a good time, say hello to the gang and everyone there. It's going to be a grand old time. So if you're heading up there, you're looking for something to do, you haven't solidified your plans yet as to what you're going to do before the game, before tailgating is going to be your best option. My name is Jake Louque, like I said, and I'm joined by Big Apple Spen. How we doing tonight, pal?
It's reached the depressing portion of the winter. The holiday stuff is fun. Those are cool. It's dark out all day and night. The wind is kicking. There has been not a lot of exciting stuff going on for the beloved Baltimore Ravens, and it's that time of the year. So make sure to, figure out a way to get some sunlight, keep your mentals and your chicken strong, and do what you can. I'm struggling with it. It's that time of the year. So get yourself a little heat rock or something and crawl into bed and just die for a couple of days if you need, but make sure to still get out and get some sunlight, walk the dogs, whatever you can do. So yeah, everybody's sick. Everything's sick. It's just, I'm as translucent as a vampire. My skin is completely pale. I need some sunlight. That's how I feel.
Yeah, no, I'm in kind of the same boat here. I've got some kind of bug going on, fighting the chills. Got some kind of dry cough, COVID whack ass cough going on. I don't know, man. I'm with you. All that cold snap that we just went through, dealing with the furnace issues, just all this bullshit. It's just one of those days. It's feeling like a Limp Bizkit song right now. The holidays have been nice. I've gotten to watch some Christmas movies. Plan to watch a few more. Certainly got the tree all set up and everything, which was fun. So yeah, that's great. But I think combination of a lot of different factors, weather, of course, being one of them, and the Ravens going into the bye week with just puttering and billowing into the bye week with a bad loss at home to an Eagles team that is, considered among the class of the NFL. And that's a tough blow to take right square in the chest when you're trying to hope, consider yourself among the Super Bowl hopefuls, and you go and lose a game like that. You got to go into the bye week and think on it. And now we have them coming out of the bye week, going up to New York to play a 2-11 squad that has looked pretty atrocious this season, that is having quarterback issues yet again, and is going to be starting Tommy DeVito in this game, is going to be missing one of its best players in Dexter Lawrence. You are a 16.5, as of right now, road favorite on the bookmaker of my choice. I don't know, man. It just feels like the table is set for the Ravens to go out there and make a statement to say, you know what, like, we didn't look like it against the Eagles, but we still do belong in that elite conversation. We demand to be taken seriously. And I think the outcome of this game, even if they do win, there can be variations of a win that could determine how people think of this team going into the final three games. So yeah, I don't know. That's kind of where I'm coming down on it as we head into this weekend. You are muted, my friend.
The bye week comes at a good time for the Ravens. Ravens have a very clean bill of health. Even when Rashad Bateman returns to practice, Sanusi Kane really the only absence for the Ravens at this point, aside from a couple folks on IR. You think about Isaiah Likely, someone who suffered a hamstring injury and took a little bit of a back seat maybe in this offense, someone who's had a really strong start, especially really early in the year. You think about Travis Jones not being on the injury report anymore for the first time in 2 months. I don't know. He's been on the injury report the entire season. So you love to see that. You hope that this team can be healthy. And, it's the wish list, your Santa's list. What do you ask for the bye week? What do you ask for around the holidays from the Ravens? I was trying to ask that question. What do they need to change? What can look different? The things from the meta that can look different are penalties, illegal formations, ineligible man downfield, which brought me into these plays. And I had a little trouble hunting some of them down, but how many times, I'm just going to I really only did one clip for this show, and I've got some other ideas, but how many times have we watched this play, it feels like, in the last month or so, or maybe like 6 weeks, especially against the Eagles, especially against the Steelers? It's going to be an RPO. Nelson Aguilar has 2 blockers. It's a 3-on-2, really. where you have the receiver and 2 blockers against 2 defenders, and they're going to leverage something the Ravens have liked to run. So then it creates kind of this one-on-one for that safety. He's not over there. And it really just makes me think of Peyton Manning saying, why does there have to be an R, a P, and an O? Why can't it be an RO or an R or a P? And we're going to see the run would have worked. The pass would have worked. It's a lot going on. You've got leverage up top. Justice Hill looks like he has a rushing lane. This defender is kind of even in no man's land still. He stayed with Lamar, but it's a big boy. Ball doesn't come out. And the linemen are downfield. And, it's these RPOs and these little screens. There was one to Mark Andrews against the Eagles. He doesn't, he's not in the right place at the right time. The defense kind of dislodged it. It just feels like there's been these little inconsistencies with the confidence of running like RPOs and some of the screens. So when you do a self-evaluation, you think of these kinds of plays, you think to yourself, well, there's 2 options. We can either stop running them or we got to clean them up. And I think the former. I think stop running so many. When you think of the Ravens play action game and just their simple run game, I think we talk about them trying to do too much schematically at times offensively. Maybe it was a little bit of an issue defensively. This offensive line is struggling. And part of that could be the bye week, man. I mean, these guys have been up against it. We've talked about that a ton, and getting that rest, having the Eagles team come to town when you do have the last bye week is it's hard not to look ahead to that and be like, oh my God, I need a break. These guys have been at it for 3 months. It sucks. Practice is boring. The game is physical and it's tiring. A lot of travel, the holidays there. I'm talking about how I feel the impact of darkness. Everybody feels it. So maybe it was a little bit of a look ahead to the bye week, some of that indecision. I feel like the play calling, and again, I'll always marry the if you're a second contract quarterback on a big contract, I'll always marry you to the coordinator and vice versa. The play calling wasn't fresh. I wouldn't give that a certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes necessarily in some of these game plans. And just an overall lack of confidence at times in those plays, some of those scenarios, some of these play action throws overall, not just buying in. I thought the most confident this offense looked recently was against the Chargers, obviously. Of course, they have the highest scoring output. And it was just, I was thinking to myself, like, what went well in that game, especially in the pass game? They were like, all right, Rashad Bateman can beat Christian Fulton. And we're going to airmail it on Christian Fulton a little bit. They try it twice. They hit a monster play there. And I think it's just buying in a little more, buying into attacking someone. And it feels like when they played the Steelers and the Eagles, they couldn't figure out who their bitch was. It's got to be somebody. So who's your bitch? And get them. Is it the inside run game? Is it the outside run game? Is there a corner you want to run at? It felt like in that Steelers game, it was them trying to win with scheme instead of who's my bitch. So I think this offense plays a little better. We've seen it against the Bengals, targeting, their outside corners and getting to the perimeter in the run game. I think their strategy needs to be attacking weaknesses of their opponent a little bit more. And hey, the Eagles are a good defense. But when they get in these kind of, we're going to RPO you and we're going to throw the kitchen sink at you, and that's how we're going to win games, it's a lot on the quarterback. It's a lot on the offensive line. And I don't think there's as much confidence in the game plan. So I want to see them, who's the bitch for the Giants? I mean, you can make an argument for a lot of people on their defense. They don't have Dexter Lawrence. They don't have all these different characters. I was reading a NFL Pro stat that said Micah McFadden, the linebacker, has stuffed 6 Saints rushes for no gain in a Week 14 loss, the most in a game by any defender this season, and he's now stuffed 15 runs, even though the Giants have allowed 650 yards before contact, 6 most. So, Dexter Lawrence not in this game, but they got some guys that still want to come play some football. So who's your bitch? That's what I want to see. Like, attack someone, spam someone. On the Steelers, to me, it's not Minkah Fitzpatrick. It's not TJ Watt. It's probably, their outside corners. It's probably Deshaun Elliott in the pass game. See if you can isolate him in coverage a little bit. Probably those linebackers. So, confidently pushing the ball at them, having schemes to isolate their coverage defenders a little bit more. Attacking. Who do we want to attack? So I think that's something of self-evaluation the Ravens could maybe look at. This offensive line, you're not going to win if you can't protect and if you can't get after the passer on both sides of the ball. So what we're seeing up into the bye is a lot of 3-man route concepts and teams dropping 7 into coverage. And it wasn't going well. It didn't go well against 2 of your big 3 opponents there headed into the bye. So if you're going to run a 3-man route concept, it needs to have all 3 guys creating a conflict. And we talked about that on this show a little bit, but I think it's just adding wrinkles to this point, getting some confidence, getting some fresh air. Defense is playing well, playing really well, playing good, sound football. The blown coverages are gone. The pass rush has been, maybe unremarkable, but consistent. Tackling's been solid. Very much so. Saquon Barkley had a 25-yard touchdown run late in that game when defense kind of wore out, but it wasn't like there was an issue getting him on the ground or anything. So I like where this defense is at. This offense needs to impose their will. Tractor Cedo, Derrick Henry wearing the chain around the locker room. Feed the big fella, man. Fresh haircut. The doo-doo brown is gone. The Mr. Hanky is gone. Exactly. The Mr. Hanky dread is gone. He's got those South Florida boy braids. He's been hanging out with Lamar a lot, you can tell. Looks like he got braided just like Lamar. So why did you get Derrick Henry? What happened last year? What was the failure that you had last year? What did you do in the offseason? It's kind of buying into your, it's smelling your own farts in a good way. Positive note. You got him for this time of the year. You got him for the playoffs. He's not worn down. He looks fine. He looks fresh. He was rumbling in the open field when he caught a couple passes. He didn't get a ton of space in the run game, but maybe a little bit more of the RPOs, a little bit more of the Rs. And it's time. It's time to shift the gear. Harbaugh said on Hard Knocks they were on for 2 minutes, but he said we have an 8-game season now. 4 remaining, 4 in the playoffs. That's your goal. So if that's all you got left, run Derrick Henry. We want to see Lamar get freaky in the playoffs. We talked about, him maybe getting involved in the run game a little more. Less of the RPO, more of the R, more of the O, more of the RO. More of this just simple screen. And get this offensive line what did they do to solve their problem in the secondary with blown assignments? They stopped running so many different coverages. They stopped moving them around so much. They simplified. Simplify, build the base, then they get confidence, then you can build back out. There's your answer. There's your answer for the offensive line. Stop trying to pull guys in pass protection, boot so much, move the offensive line around. In the run game, I like it. In the pass game, I don't. Let these guys fucking settle, feel each other out. You're going to have to, if you're running 3-man routes all playoffs, you're not going to do it. You don't have Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. You don't have prime Anquan Bolden against the Colts. You don't have that alpha, number 1 killer in the NFL. So guys need to get open. There needs to be more guys running routes. There needs to be 4 guys running routes a lot. So those are kind of the things I think of ahead of through the bye week and what I'd like to see from this Ravens team.
Yeah, I think it is all about the identity thing for me. And, you make the point of why did you sign Derrick Henry? Well, it's to lean on him when you need him and when you're trying to take pressure off Lamar Jackson. And it does feel like they get away from that at times where they are trying to do this RPO and we're going to beat you in a million different ways. And, that can be good at times, but, when it shows its weakness, it shows up in indecision and it shows up in balls sailing over the quarterback's head, right? Like we saw last week. And like we've seen Lamar drop the ball at times when he's not been on the same page with Linderbaum. And when you see the mesh point get a little out of touch there. And when Lamar misses a guy on what should be, a pretty easy throw here and there. And, when you've got like a Flowers going for that first down marker against the Chargers, like it just seems like you got to just help your guys settle in a little bit earlier. And to do so, you got to simplify things to your point, just like you did with the defense. And in this case, it shouldn't even be that hard because on this side of the ball, you've got the horses, at least way better horses than you do on the defensive side of the ball. You've got Henry, you've got Jackson, you've got great skill players, both at tight end, at running back, at wide receiver. Offensive line is a little bit hit and miss, obviously, but you found ways to work around that. And I think you're right. Just find one guy to key in on and just hit that as consistently as possible. And I think, like I said, when the show opened up, this is like the perfect game to mess around with that strategy because, like I said, this is a 2-11 team with not a lot to play for. Obviously, there's going to be, the word trap game is probably going to be thrown out. I don't necessarily see it that way. I think this is just a game that you just got to go out and mess around with some stuff, and try to blow this team out by double digits. And overall, it can't even come into your mind that this is a trap game. This has got to be an impose your will game. This is an identity game. It's a who am I game, 100%. So yeah, to your point, like simplify things, feed Henry, get Hill involved a little bit if you have to. Don't make Lamar do too much, because of your remaining four, this is quite clearly the easiest game on the schedule. So yeah, I'll be interested to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, I don't really view it as a trap game. I mean, you got Tommy DeVito. There's no Andrew Thomas. There's no Dexter Lawrence. The Giants are beaten, broken, and damned. I think they're. I mean, they trotted Tommy DeVito out initially, which is like, there's a running joke. I have a lot of Giants fan friends, but they always say like, "Oh, good, we're starting Tommy DeVito, and we'll get a free Pepsi if we come to the game." That was a promotion that the Giants ran. That was Mr. Mara's idea. If you attend the game, everyone who attends the game has a ticket, gets a free medium Pepsi. That'll get the people to make the hike into East Rutherford, into the middle of nowhere, and go watch Tommy DeVito and the Giants. I think that happened last year. So they all, if you get into Giants Twitter, it's a thing too. Yeah. Oh, at least we get a Pepsi. So this team, I don't see it. I don't see fight. I mean, Malik Neighbors, exciting, fun. People are trying to drum up, Nate Wiggins from Malik Neighbors, first round picks. Cool, fine. That's great. That's dandy. The focus is on the football field for the Ravens. I think are generating turnovers, taking the football away. You should be able to generate a lot of turnovers. You should be able to put the Giants in adverse positions. You should rack up sacks and take the football away. The Ravens have not taken the football away enough at all whatsoever. I think Marlon Humphrey has half of their turnovers that they forced, if I'm not mistaken. Let me check out some stats here. But that hasn't been anything giving you an advantage. I mean, what are the issues with this team? We touched on the offensive inconsistency. We touched on the penalties a little bit. A lot of them are offensive. Their ineligible man downfield, their illegal formations, and their holdings are all terrible. They have 50 of those combined, which is as many as some teams have total across all three units. And it's takeaways, it's kicking. And what did we talk about last time? Fired up. Tucker, it looks weird to me. Doesn't look right. And go for it. Commit to that now in a low T game. Commit to something. It's a great game to either have him kick a 55-yard field goal if that opportunity presents itself, or a great game to go for it on 4th and 5 from the 40 instead. And be decisive in that. Have that ahead of time. What are you going to do? Are you going to use this as the last game? Because I don't know. That whole aspect. It's the kicking game. It's penalties and takeaways. The Ravens have been outstanding in the red zone offensively. They're the best team in the NFL. They've converted 3/4 of their red zone opportunities into touchdowns. They've been so good there. Lamar Jackson has been so good there. Derrick Henry, Mark Andrews, Zay Flowers has been good there. I think the offensive line is buckled up a little bit. I think they have a good plan in the red zone. Getting there has been a little bit of a trial and tribulation against the Steelers and the Eagles, things like that. But, turnovers. Take this football away and let's see. You're going to make some kicks, or you're just going to go for it, or what are you going to do there? You've got to kind of shit or get off the pot a little bit with what's going on with Justin Tucker, who leads the NFL in missed kicks. And, I mean, this is maybe on me. I said it was the year of the kicker, and this might be the worst year of kicking history. It started out white hot for the first month. Watching Red Zone on Sunday, I think I saw a dozen missed kicks. Jake Elliott can't kick. Aubrey from Dallas has been missing kicks. Tucker can't kick. Younghoe Koo, who was really good, hasn't been kicking well. Lo and behold, Matthew Wright, the Chiefs' newly signed kicker, goes 4 for 4 in that game. Lo and behold, but not the year of the kicker. Year of getting the kickers out.
Yeah, I've already seen some rumblings that, hey, when Butker's back, this Matthew Wright guy, should the Ravens pick up the phone?
There's a couple. The Vikings kicker was accurate. I think he maybe missed one prior to their rookie, Will Reichert, out of Alabama coming in. And then he misses for the Vikings in their game. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think people are super excited about this game. I'm curious. I don't think people really care about this game too much. I don't think there's much of a reason to. The only reason people would care is if, like, the Giants, who of their 13 games played, 8 of them have been one-score games. The Eagles blew them out. The Vikings blew them out. The Bucs blew them out. They had close games against the Steelers, close games against the Panthers, the Cowboys, the Saints, the Seahawks they beat, the Commanders they played a close game against. So, people are the only thing that can happen reaction-wise in this game is people getting mad if the Ravens do struggle, but I don't expect that to be the case. John Harbaugh after the bye is the second best coach in the NFL. Lamar Jackson's 5-1 after the bye. The bye is a good time in Baltimore and has been since dating back to the Ray Lewis days.
Yeah, I saw a couple days ago. I don't know if this was NFL wide or just for the Ravens. I feel like it was NFL wide. This is the biggest point spread in a game since 2019. The Ravens at the time when I saw this were 17.5 point favorites. They've gone to 16.5 now, but that last time was 2019 when they were 19 point favorites over the Jets on Thursday Night Football in Lamar's first MVP year. They wound up winning that game by about 21. So they covered the spread last time. I'll be interested to see, like, if they start to get ahead in this one, like, will they kind of just accept it as like, all right, this was sort of our tune-up game out of the bye. Let's take Lamar out, get Josh Johnson in there by, mid third quarter. That would be obviously what everyone would be hoping for scenario wise, if they even have to make that decision. Or do they keep him in, try to pour the points on, keep the confidence rolling? I don't know. That would obviously be a good problem to have. We don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves on this, especially given your one score game stat there. I didn't realize that about this Giants team. So I don't know. There's not much to make of it. I've got their, roster and everything pulled up in front of me, but it's a lot of names that I'm not super familiar with. Obviously, we know all about Thibodeau and Brian Burns, and you mentioned Malik Neighbors, Slayton, solid player. Tyrone Tracy's been solid at times this season, but it's a lot of guys that I think are just kind of playing out the string and trying to put some good stuff on tape over this last month here.
Definitely. And that was on Hard Knocks too. It was Shelby Harris in the Browns defensive line room saying, this is your chance when you're on a team that has guys hurt and Daniel Jones is gone. This is your chance to make money and put on good tape for other GMs around the league, or to prove that you're a part. What Shelby Harris said was, this is the time of the year for the Browns who are out of the playoffs. This is your time to prove that you are a part of the solution and not a part of the problem. So those young cats do want to ball out and lay some licks and maybe see a couple of them, but I don't know. The Ravens are going to be the Raven 31-10 will be my prediction. The Ravens are going to beat the piss out of them, in my opinion. The Ravens have owned those New York teams up in New York the last couple years. 9-11, they stomped the Jets out 24-9. I think they absolutely smoked the Giants the last time they played them. So I don't know. And what I didn't realize, I tweeted this. I didn't realize the Giants have had 8 10-win seasons in the last 30 years. Yeah, they really had one run of being a good team. Even in the 80s and 90s, from 1980 to 2000, they won 4 division titles. They're really not that good.
That was true NFC East though at that time. I mean, that was real competition.
Cowboys, Eagles, yeah.
I mean, even the Skins at the time were really good too.
They won Super Bowls. Doug Williams, yeah, sure, and that's a good thing to point out. But they just are a bad organization. They're not far off from their neighbors, from their I should say roommates.
Yeah, they have the small separator of 3 more rings, I guess. But you are right that they've kind of come in very, very sharp, highly cresting waves that just peter out immediately. It's like, Hostetler and Phil Simms each get 1. Eli and Coughlin, in the span of 4 years get 2. And outside of that, it's been a lot of crap. Like, they really, for a ball club that is looked at as one of these Tiffany franchises, one of the original sort of franchises, Mr. Mara, loves Mr. Rooney, they love to jerk each other off and all that. But
they were the classy part of New York too. They were a part of the Yankees class, that kind of era.
Yeah. They've got the, Parcells was there, and obviously Belichick was the coordinator. Your guy, Belichick, who you're now going to be a big Tar Heels guy. Since Saban left Alabama, you've been looking for a college team, so that's good that you can get that. And yeah, I mean, they've obviously had some iconic, players with LT, and obviously Eli was probably more iconic than he was good, I think. But 2 Super Bowls, can't argue with that. But yeah, the consistency really hasn't been there. And man, you were predicting this team, I don't think that crazily, to win the Super Bowl a couple years ago, and now it looks like Brian Daboll may be on his way out the door.
Probably, and I feel for Dable. I feel like he is a good coach, but the insight into their front office and the tinkering of ownership, it's, I mean, just is there, you could probably say Bob Kraft did to a degree, but I don't think that even applies. Is there a good team that's been successful where the owner tinkers a lot in the personnel decisions and is like one of the loudest mouths in the organization across sports? I mean, Cuban was a part of the Mavs haven't been that, they were good last year. They made their title run, but how many owners? And he was not even an owner last year when he was doing that. I think he moved into
the Cowboys have had good regular season runs. They've just never won a Super Bowl. That's the problem. I mean, Jerry really truly
haven't even come close. Haven't even done anything in the playoffs. But yeah, they were really good in the regular season for like 10 years, 5 years. Romo and Dak.
Yeah, so that's the only one that I can think of, and like they're not even a great example, obviously, because they haven't made any noise in the postseason. So
every team that goes through a terrible stretch of bottom feeder status, the Browns, the Haslams were tinkering, Snyder tinkering with the R words into the Commanders. It's a who's who. I mean, the Bears ownership was getting kind of testy for a while. It feels like the Lions, with freaking
George Steinbrenner, I think would be the
that's really the only one. Yeah, that's a good point. So he's not even there anymore, and they fell from where they were. Even
now his fail son is getting outbid by the crosstown little brother for Juan Soto. You hate to see that happen.
Oh my God. So yeah, Giants, poo-poo, Tommy DeVito, 31-10. My question, I'm taking Keaton Mitchell to score a touchdown and to score 2 touchdowns. I think it is 8-1 and 70-1. I could see after the bye week them wanting to see what he can do. Can we get him and Derrick Henry on the field at the same time down the road later a little bit?
I've bet on this in recent weeks, and I've been totally off. Like I'd like to see him get a little more involved here.
This is one where you hit it, you keep going, you keep pressing, and he's going to score a touchdown against either the Giants or the Browns or who. I'm going to probably start to hit this one every week.
Okay,
but Keaton Mitchell, Tez Walker. If the Ravens, can get up and get a lead there, and I just think they will. They're definitely fired up, man. And there's a lot of talk, and maybe some of it's just because it's what happens on Twitter a little more. But this team's not locked in, or this team isn't. The message is stale. Blah blah. I don't know. When I hear Kyle Hamilton talk, and Lamar talk, and Henry talk, and Roquan talk, they sound like robots in a kill John Connor way. They sound like confident as fuck about this team and that they've overcome a lot of adversity and they want to keep playing football. Like their hunger that they kept portraying to the media of Lamar was like, I don't want the bye week. Lamar was like, bye rest great, but I want to play the Giants. I think that message has been consummate, and I think they do want to keep playing. And again, this offensive line, I'm just going to say again, soft until proven otherwise. Can somebody grow like a beard or something? Can somebody grow like a dirty, scraggly beard through the winter? One of them, Rosengarten, he's got some spotty shit. Let's get some of that wiry shit up top going.
He's got to get a unibrow going like Luigi.
Exactly. Stop. Don't be shaven this time of year. I want this offensive line to stink like shit. I want them to smell like a pig pen, and I want them to grow their beards out. I mean, McCary's got a pretty big beard there. Always, but too clean cut. Let the hair grow. Let the hair go or something. Just look a mess. Just stink. Look a mess. Too much cologne. Lamar's wearing enough perfume for everyone.
Yeah. What's the deal with that?
I like where his head was at there. I like that. I've got like a little unisex set that I
didn't like. I only saw like half a headline when I was still waking up, and I didn't go look into it. So I only saw again.
He just said that he likes a softer smell. And that he's making a unisex, I believe, fragrance, which is smart because women are consumers of fragrance 10-1 over men, things that are in the fragrance category. So by isolating the market there, you're doing yourself a disservice. But I think I like where his head's at there. I like vanilla. I try to wear vanilla cologne and stuff like that. So I'm privy to some unisex stuff. I understand every single men's cologne is like musk. It's ooh, sandalwood, Greystone, Harbor Mist.
Yeah,
it all smells like pee, kind of.
It's like when stuff like a couple of years ago, like on podcast ads, are like, "Hey, we're gonna like appeal to dudes now. Like we're gonna do like the dude wipes and like the what's it called? What's that one underwear? Like the really like the rugged like lumberjack, which are good. I mean, like a lot of these products are good, but it's like all right, what like
John Johns or some. It's like something like that.
yeah, Buck Naked, Duluth Trading Buck Naked underwear.
Duluth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which again, good product.
There's that side, and then there's also like the pink razors for women.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it kind of just felt like we need to like come out with this like whole like marketing strategy for guys. Like I don't know. It's just it's funny. Like
Lamar also he just likes luxurious stuff. He probably likes the look of like a pink fragrance in like a crystal little tilted bottle that's like crystal with a design in it. It's Prada. It looks nice. So I thought that all that was funny. He's been getting a lot of burn. He was in GQ. He did the like show your chains video for them as well. He's talking about his fragrance. He's quiet. Everybody talks about Joe Burrow and his fashion. Lamar's quietly turning into a little fashion icon himself.
Yeah, well, Joe Burrow. I mean, I like the guy, but he has and always will be a try hard with the fashion stuff. Like, just give me a break with Joe.
What an all-time moment of him getting robbed and then being more mad that like the media came out and said like this Sports Illustrated model was the one who called the police. And I know that I think he recently broke off an engagement. He seemed 10 times more mad about the media calling out who was at his place.
He was. Yeah, my privacy has been like completely just you're blowing up my spot basically. He's kind of right. I mean, it sucks for that to be the way that comes out, but I don't know. What are you going to do? You're Joe Burrow. I'm sure the sun will rise on you tomorrow, my sweet boy.
It's not out of the hunt yet. Not out of the hunt yet. They could still make some play.
Yeah, they're still hanging on that respirate, that life,
They just have to win out. If they win out, they have a good shot.
Who are their remaining games?
Broncos, who they can beat.
They could beat them.
And who else do they play? They play the Titans. Excuse me. Titans this week. Browns the following week. Broncos after that. Those are 3 games they could have, in the bag. And then they finish with the Steelers. So
a Steelers game could be a win or go home. That'll be fun.
Win or go home, and that who knows? That could be, Steelers might need to win that to win the North or not.
Yeah, the Ravens might need the Bengals to win that.
If there's a whole domino effect. If the Steelers manage to beat the Chiefs,
they will. They'll find a way.
If the Steelers manage to beat the Chiefs finish against the Broncos. The Broncos, there's a whole weird thing. If the Steelers beat the Chiefs, it puts the entire AFC kind of back into flux. If the Steelers were to like win out and beat the Chiefs, it sets off a bunch of divisional stuff. That is like the only way that the end of the season in the AFC really has consistent like value from an entertainment perspective. Like, of course, the Ravens probably need to, maybe the Ravens, the Broncos, the Chargers, the Dolphins, Bengals need to win some games. Maybe the AFC North is decided. But other than that, AFC East is done. AFC West is done. AFC South, the Colts Colts have to kind of basically win out. So there's not much drama going on. Yeah. That's the other thing. Yeah, they could be at the Chiefs maybe. If the Chiefs were to somehow drop 2 games, which they're just, the Permian Panthers in Friday Night Lights, the TV show, just, the kicker hits a doinker that makes a thunderous rumble and it careens around the side to go in. All the stuff going on with them. So
they're what a disgusting watch they've turned into. Just a completely uninspired outfit from top to bottom. I am so fucking sick of them.
The way they play, I've compared it to a rugby team. I've made many comparisons about it, but it is just truly. And I was just thinking about this.
They're a parody of themselves. Like they're literally like they've scaled back the operation more and more and more, so they can. It's literally like it's Viva La Bam, like it's Jackass. They're like, hey, like we're going to try to win the Super Bowl without getting any wide receivers and see if Patrick Mahomes can deal with it. And then they're like stupid like Mickey Mouse plays still. It's just like
Andy Reid is Vito.
Carson Steele. Yeah, like it's like we're going to get this kid involved. We're going to get our backup kicker in. You know, I'm Andy Reid, and this is no Harrison Butker. And like, it's just, I don't know. Like it pisses me off mainly because I know they're just going to go and win the Super Bowl this year, just to stuff me in a locker again.
So I was just thinking about, I don't know, like I was in some weird exchange of conversations, and I was just thinking about like conspiracy theory of football, and like everyone says, oh, it's a registered entertainment corporation. And I was thinking about like WWE, and to me, it's just is so insane that like I was thinking about the Giants, which led to this. It was like, okay, like Eli Manning somehow managed to, like, if Eli Manning didn't win both of those Super Bowls, if the 9-7 Giants didn't manage to go on a run, like how bad would the Giants look? And then I thought about it. I was like, man, anyone can win the Super Bowl. Nick Foles won a Super Bowl. Eli Manning won a Super Bowl. How the hell did they beat the Patriots? Like, that's crazy. The Patriots were such an established contender, as they were the world heavyweight champion, and the lowly Giants managed to beat them. And I was like, man, it's just crazy, because then at the end of Brady's run in the AFC, they play the Chiefs one time in Patrick Mahomes' first good year, and it's the young, scrappy, challenger, the number one challenger, and they come in and, oh, there's this offsides at the end of the game. How could this be? The drama. Oh my God. And then Brady leaves the AFC, and suddenly the world heavyweight champion becomes the Chiefs. And there's a new heavyweight champion. So now what they've got is Lamar and Burrow and Allen, these challengers every year. And, that's what the viewership is. It's the world heavyweight champion and the number one challenger. Like, meaning, yeah, I feel like the NFL refs, they want to get a conspiracy. If there's something that makes all this so watchable, like if the Bills and Chiefs play in the playoffs in the AFC Championship again, if they're the 1 and the 2, everyone in the fucking world is going to watch. That is the most entertaining thing that you can possibly watch, is probably the Bills against the Chiefs, if not the Ravens against the Chiefs as the second. And, oh, Mahomes has knocked Allen out, and now he's knocked Lamar out, and he's 2-0 defending his belt. Like, it's just, I don't know. My conclusion of my conspiracy theory of my Alex Jones ramblings of the NFL is that the Bills win this year. And that is what is best for the NFL. That is my conspiracy, if I want to lean that way. And I love it. People love the WWE. I love the NFL. I love it. Even if I knew it was fake and it was like, yes, every ref has been getting paid millions of dollars, I would still love it. I would still watch it.
I think if you're going to go that way, I think it's the Lions would be the team.
But they don't play in the regular season like that, though. Like, the Super Bowl itself is one thing, and maybe the Lions beat the Bills, and then the Bills, oh, they just can't win a Super Bowl, like whatever. But
yeah, but that's where this conspiracy is kind of losing me a little bit. Like, they're only focused on one conference. Like, it's a big league.
Yes, because it was the AFC forever. There was no dominant NFC team.
Yeah, but like, why would they build their entire, like, the AFC wasn't even the NFL back in the day. It was a different league. Like, why would all of a sudden the AFC, they just decide, like, all right, well, we gotta hand it to the AFC now for the,
because Mahomes, Lamar, Allen, and Burrow get all of the, like, that's what percentage of clicks are about those guys and their teams? And
but what is the conspiracy, that the ref is helping all of these teams?
That refs? They want, like, that they've wanted to boost the Chiefs and boost up, like, Bills, Ravens, get these narratives going, get every single show. What portion, let's say there's 12 NFL hours in the day on ESPN. What percentage of the NFL portion is spent talking about Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Lamar, and those 4 teams?
Yeah, but that all kind of happens pretty naturally. I think these teams are just good. Like,
the Bengals aren't good.
Well, yeah, the Bengals.
All I see is Burrow.
Well, yeah, because that's because of the Icy Joe and the Fire Fitz, and he made that Super Bowl run that one time. Remember that? Wasn't that great?
Like, all of this, I don't know. It's cute, and I feel like that is entertaining on one half of the NFL. The other half, I think you're right. The NFC does kind of lack the pop. So maybe
it's all about the coaches.
Lions. I see what you're saying now. The Lions winning the Super Bowl would establish someone else on the other side. The Eagles have been that a little bit. They've done the do-si-do. They won one. They lost one to the Chiefs.
Lions, well, it is. I mean, it's like it is right to have like a power in any given sports league, whether it's the Bulls in the 90s, Pats in the early 2000s, and then all throughout the 2010s. Now it's transferred over to the Chiefs. Tiger in golf. It's just like to kind of have that center weight that everyone's kind of gravitating around, and occasionally you get the upset over them. That does make it very exciting. I just think it's a natural thing that happens in sports, though. And yes, I think
there's too much money involved. There's too much money at stake for everything to be organic.
It's not all organic, but it doesn't mean games are fixed.
I think there's preferable things that happen. I think there's preferable outcomes and nudges. Now that's a whole other topic, but I don't know. It's so crazy to me because I was thinking how nuts it is that Nick Foles can win a Super Bowl, Eli Manning can win a Super Bowl with the 9-7 team, the fucking David Tyree catch on the helmet. Like I'm not saying it's scripted like that at all, but
I mean when
it also shows how good Brady was and how good Belichick was.
When the Jets beat the Colts in Super Bowl III, somebody walked up to Pete Rozelle and was like, I can't believe this happened. I bet you feel terrible right now. He said, no, this is the best thing that ever happened to pro football. And like the AFL wasn't even a part of the NFL at the time. Like it's just good to like have that. You got the sun.
The Jets. That's why I tell my Jets friends, the Jets have never won a Super Bowl in my mind.
Yeah. That was technically an AFC, NFC, whatever they called it, championship, intercontinent, conference championship or something they called it at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's actually really funny.
I always tell them that they're like, shut up. Yes, they did. It was called Super Bowl. I was like, you guys haven't even won one. Shut up.
Not till later. I
was like, that was pre-merger. The merger wasn't completed until 1972.
Yeah.
They're like, no, you don't. Shut up.
Yeah.
Well, we went fully off the rails. I don't know. I was just thinking, like, putting my tinfoil hat on and just thinking about.
You tend in that direction, and sometimes you got to pull me in that direction, and sometimes I got to pull you back. Okay.
I just find it so nuts that it just cleanly went from Brady to Mahomes. And I mean, what they've won 9 of the last 20 Super Bowls between those two. 25 Super Bowls, I guess. 20. What was the Patriots' first one? 2001. It was technically 2002, February 2002.
Yeah.
So of the last 22 Super Bowls, those guys have won technically 10, but Patriots, Brady, and Chiefs, Mahomes, and just the fucking D forward offsides. How is that real? How is that real? How did that happen? That stuff just blows my mind. I don't know, and that's why it's so entertaining. Like I said, even if I knew it was fixed, even if it's not fixed at all, either way, I love it.
It's still real to me, damn it. It's still real to me.
I don't know. At the same time, I'm like, I don't know. Everyone's like making reactions to like the Ravens on Hard Knocks and stuff. I'm like, we fantasize about football so much, but I do it as much as anyone. I'm like, this is just a football team. Just a football team. Hell of a lid, Jake, in the comments here. So I don't know. Those are my incoherent ramblings for probably the rest of the season about conspiracy theories of football. But just a little cute. Everything's just a little cute as I get older. I'm like, this is cute. This is very cute.
Shut her to the settle, man. You got the contenders and the cuties.
Mark in the comments, if it's scripted, then the Ravens get to be the heel who keeps beating the shit out of everybody before losing to the more exactly.
That's what I've been saying. Like, if this is like some sort of story written by somebody, then like why do I get the feeling that I'm never going to get the girl at the end? That I'm never going to be the hero? Because it feels like I'm the bully. I'm Buddy Revell. I'm whatever, and then everything's going well up to a certain point, and then Revenge of the Nerds happens, and I'm stuffed into the outhouse. End of every season.
The Ravens are the heel. They're a perfect heel. They literally are. They're the perfect heel. And I think in football they do. The only one who's never gotten one is Dan Marino. He's the only one out of that whole group that never got one.
He's not bitter about it. You hear stories about him. Sounds like a really nice, well-adjusted guy who did not carry any of that with him.
And I don't like the Ravens when they won the Super Bowl in 2013, 2012. Like everybody probably wanted Brady and Manning. Then fucking Raheem Morris, Jacoby Jones, and Joe Flacco happened. Like, I don't know. It's crazy. And I'm not saying it's the script, and I'm not saying everything's fixed. Again, like I don't think Nick Foles winning the Super Bowl did anything for anyone in that regard. It was a big deal though. I don't know. It always works out that way. The NFL is king for a reason, whether it's natural, whether there's some nudges in certain directions. And I think, at this point it's like, when do Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson, Burrow beat him once, but when does it happen again? It's been 2 years of Allen getting pushed down, and then the Ravens now joining the mix for real in the playoffs. I don't know. I do think the Bills do it. That's what I put in press box. But yeah, Keaton Mitchell, 1 touchdown, 2 touchdown. Ravens, I think 31-20 Giants maybe can score a touchdown either early or late. Maybe they return a punt or something stupid. But
yeah, I'll go Ravens 31-17. Giants 2 touchdowns and a field goal.
There you have it. TM Sharp, best path for a playoff run in the Ravens. I don't know. I'm of the opinion, like I want to see them play the Steelers, then the Chiefs, then the Bills, or something like that.
I feel like if they beat the Steelers in the playoffs, they'd be confident they could beat anyone. Because
I think if they beat the Steelers next week, they'll be confident they can beat anyone.
Yeah. So if they were to do it again in the playoffs, they'd be like, "Shit, man, we went through that. We could do anything."
Again,
like when they beat the Broncos and Flacco was like, "Hey, we beat the Broncos. I just beat Peyton Manning on the road. I am not going to lose to anyone else," and he didn't.
Kick the shit out of the Patriots. I truly think that if the Ravens lose to the Steelers, I think Harbaugh is done. I think if you lose to the Steelers and it looks the same, you're going to lose in the playoffs and it's going to look the same, and then you've got to move on from Harbaugh. We talked about Mike Macdonald last year, but you had the bye week. The Steelers are playing a gauntlet. They have 3 games in 10 days. You do too, but theirs is worse. They're on the road. If it looks the same again and you can't figure something out, like in any sport, if you just keep losing to your rival over and over and over and you're not winning, going to the AFC Championship is not some small feat, but it's not, something that people remember in the grand scheme of things. So eventually you got to move on. And I don't know. Again, I just keep coming back. Like Harbaugh was brought in to take a locker room that had stolen Ed Reed and Ray Lewis. It was really like Ed Reed and his henchmen stole the locker room from Brian Billick, and Brian Billick had no control. So they brought Harbaugh in to be an enemy. Like Ed Reed didn't like Harbaugh. Harbaugh was brought in to fight him and fight that defense and try and corral them so that the locker room could come together and be stable. And it culminated in a Super Bowl. And that's just not, like, I think of Pete Carroll too. I don't know. He's a little different of a coach, but Harbaugh Harbaugh's an old man now, man. He's nice. He's a nice old man. He's not the same fucking crazy person he used to be. He used to be insane.
You used to run North Jersey. I did.
You used to run North Jersey.
That's nice.
So I don't know. This is like what's the appropriate? It's like the climax of this. It's where the hero either falls or rises. I don't know. Like in the story of John Harbaugh, I think this is as big of a game, as a big of a regular season game as he's ever had against the Steelers. And it doesn't even matter because they make the playoffs, but if you lose to the Steelers again, it's just that at that point you're broken. I think at that point you're like, we've watched the same story happen every time. We can't fix it. You don't have the answers. Is the grass greener? I mean,
who knows?
The Ravens have been a great franchise with, they established themselves as a winner before. He is over half of the Ravens now, right? Yeah. Well, he's 17 out of 26? Something like that. So is the grass greener? It's tough when there was that brain drain. And again, that's why we were talking about Mike Macdonald the way we were. Because he is the good things of Harbaugh and he was raised through that coaching system, through that franchise, their identity, understood all of it. But maybe his attention to detail was stronger. Maybe he was more energetic. Maybe he had a different interpretation and could have helped overcome some of those issues, whether it was cultural, whether it was schematic, whether it was, roster construction and influence. So the flip side is that the Ravens do beat the Steelers. And again, this will only be and this is the thing too. Like Mike Macdonald and John Harbaugh, the same record. The Seahawks have played fucking no one. And people keep talking about that. They've played no one. The Ravens are 5-3 against teams with a winning record. They've played
Jackson also way better than Geno Smith.
So what?
To be fair.
So what?
I'm just calling balls and strikes here. If he had a better quarterback, maybe he'd have more wins. Who knows?
Seahawks have played the Broncos, rookie Bo Nix, playoff team, give it to him. Patriots, the Dolphins without Tua. The Lions got shellacked. The Giants lost. The 49ers lost. They beat the Falcons. The Bills beat them by 21 points. They lost to the Rams. They beat the 49ers without Trent Williams. I think they had Christian McCaffrey. They were missing Nick Bosa, I think, in that game. They beat the Cardinals, they beat the Jets, and then they beat the Cardinals again. The Ravens have played Patrick Mahomes, who the Seahawks haven't played, Josh Allen, who beat the shit out of the Seahawks, Joe Burrow twice, beat him twice. They have played every good quarterback except, Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, the Ravens played. So I don't know. I think the Seahawks do have a lot of talent. I think the Seahawks have a lot of talent, especially offensively. Love Jackson Smith and Jigba. It's a good team. So I don't know. Maybe they both lose in the wild card. Maybe the Seahawks somehow manage to go on a run. The Steelers. The Ravens play the Steelers twice, or play the Steelers once too, or 10-3. The Ravens have by far the hardest strength of schedule of any team that's currently in the playoffs. They have the 6th hardest schedule in the NFL by wins and losses, and I think only the Bucks and the Vikings have. The Packers. The Bucks and the Packers are the only 2 teams in the top 13. So we'll see. The Ravens also have the Giants right now, and then they get the Browns. They lost to the Browns. They're not going to get swept by the Browns. So there you go. There's 2 guaranteed. They play the Texans and Steelers. You win one of them, and your 11 wins usually gets you a division most times. Yeah, we got comments here. You hate how the Ravens lose the same way, but if you want to see your team get blown out, you're crazy. That's part of it. That's part of the beauty. The beauty of it is that they never do. They never do.
Yeah, I'm not into that get blown out stuff. Like, I know it sucks to lose close games, but I'd rather they do that.
That's why I don't understand saying that they aren't bought in. How can you never have a slip up if you're not bought in? And when they do, when the occasional time they do, when the Bengals beat the brakes off them a couple years ago, the Dolphins kind of had a 2-score lead on Thursday Night Football. It's like, holy shit, this is a fucking mess.
Yeah.
So there you go. I guess that's an episode. I've been rambling on long enough.
That's okay. I could tell you needed to get some stuff off your chest. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Hope you guys all hanging with us here and listening after the fact enjoyed the episode. If you liked it, if you enjoyed what you heard, subscribe to us here on YouTube. Comment on all the videos. Like them all. Follow us on social media at Exit52 Podcast on X. I am at Jake Louque. That's Louque. Spenny is at Ravens4Dummies. That is the number 4 in the middle. Brian at Barstool Banks. Eric at EDITTI22. Taylor at Taylor Smythe 10. Shout out again to Jimmy's Famous Seafood. Hit up the Tailgate website for tickets. If you're heading up to MetLife this weekend and you're looking for somewhere to tailgate, check out the Tailgate. In the meantime, we appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to you later.
See ya.
Arrivederci.